We are resuming from break. The time is 10:49 on Friday, July 25th.
All right. So we've talked around this issue, but talked about it a little bit. I want to spend the next hour or so, or however long it takes. I want to focus kind of exclusively on Epstein and like his criminal conduct with respect to women. Do you said yesterday a couple times that like you now kind of recognize or think that there was things that he did that you didn't know about and that he kept from you or that you didn't see. What did you see? So you said yesterday, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but at some point he was getting massages 7 days a week, sometimes multiple massages a day. Women have said that were there, that say they were there giving him massages, said that those included some sort of sexual conduct, however you define that in the broadest sense, not just a traditional massage regularly. So what did you see and hear at the time? And then I think, aside from what you saw and heard at the time, now that you've been through what you've been through and heard people say what they've said and read what they've read, where does that leave you in your mind with what happened?
Okay, so I saw Epstein with women. What I mean by that is he would have women around him, or women on the plane, or women in his house, or that's how I'm explaining that. Those women were very interested. What my characterization of the relationships between all women that I saw with him and him was characterized by, their interest in him as I would see it. And by that I mean I never saw anybody who didn't want to be with him, maybe socially or whatever. I never saw anybody not under any form of duress in any type of situation where they were, as I would characterize it, looking uncomfortable or in any way distressed. In the entire time I was with him, or traveled with him, I never saw that. So any time I saw anybody with him, they were happy to be with him. He would ask people all the time, whoever you were, to massage his feet. He'd be sitting there and he'd have somebody massage his feet or squeeze his shoulders, or I saw that a lot. It was an ubiquitous interaction, if you will. So I did see that. I saw physicality, but not anything that was I don't know how to characterize it, anything that looked aggressive, I suppose, to define that. So I never saw an aggressive move. I never saw anything that was
non-consensual.
Oh, well, thank you. Okay. I never saw anything that was non-consensual. So if he, well, maybe they didn't, I never saw anything that looked like they didn't like the hug, or I never saw what I would characterize as anything that was unconsensual.
Did you see him either receiving or participating in sexual conduct during massages? Understanding you never saw something non-consensual, did you see him engaged in sexual conduct during massages?
Well, you could define sexual conduct as in, I did see women who could have been, less than normally clad for a massage, but especially on the island where they would be in a bikini or possibly even topless. Yeah, I did see that. So you would.
But what about so yes, I agree, that's one area, like, so women who were either not clothed or topless with just a bottom on. But beyond that, did you see as part of that him touching them? And again, I'm not talking about consent or not consent or age or, I'm saying, like, there's multiple, dozens and dozens of women who have said that they engaged in sexual contact, and I agree there's a broad range of how that can be defined, but defining it in the broadest of terms.
I saw him being physical with women. I did see that, but nothing that was not consensual. And to address the issue of the large number of women who today say that he was not consensual or coercive with them, I'm not sure. In my mind, I sort of have to characterize the two distinct areas. There's one where is the women who are not of age. Therefore, anything with them is immediately unconsensual.
Correct.
So let's start, and I want to define anyone who's under age versus anybody who's over age, because I do think that there's a very significant differential between the two.
Well, so does the law. Yeah.
Yes, okay, so
Yeah.
I don't mean that.
I agree with you. Yes,
okay.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to deal with the thing which is really why we're here. I mean, not that I'm not going to deal with the other, but I just want to make a distinction with the underage situation, because there's nothing about that that's right. I never saw anything with anybody who was, certainly to be categorical from my trial. Let's deal with that, because that's something that I can say. I never saw that with them at all, and I would say that as described anyway in my trial did not happen as described. I'm not saying that Mr. Epstein did not do those things. I'm not casting those. I'm not going to say. I don't feel comfortable saying that today, given what I now know to be true. So I'm not here to defend him. But what I can say is that I did not participate in that activity. And
so let's divide this into two areas. Maybe there's more, but we'll start with two areas. One is there was testimony, and there's certainly been depositions and public statements that some of these young women had conversations with you about their age. So, for example, conversations about the fact that they were in high school, or conversations about the fact that they wanted to go to college one day, which would necessarily mean, well, not necessarily, but would be more likely to mean that they were in high school when they talked to you about that. And so, were there women that you knew were underage? And I say that because that's different than whether they were sexually abused in any way by Mr. Epstein, just merely their age, and going to give him a massage.
No, I never knew that, and I can categorically state that had any child said to me that they were 14, 15, 16, maybe not 17, because 17 in England, I mean, if someone had said they were 17, I've read so much that did happen. I mean, I would never have permitted such a thing. I don't even know what I would have done.
So some of I think even someone who testified at trial, but certainly publicly talked about, was as young as 14 when she was introduced to Mr. Epstein. In your mind today, you kind of reject that happened, that you saw that, meaning you don't recall any obviously under 18 woman coming to give him a massage.
Well, I believe you're talking about Jane, and I'm very happy to address that. I actually don't think that the testimony is correct. I don't believe.
Yeah. Look,
No, I'm not. I just want to tell you how.
Yeah. I don't want to get into.
No.
I'm
not. No, absolutely not. I don't want to go there. I'm not going to do that. But I believe that what took place with a lot of these people is that there was a slide, right? So there was a zone And he did meet her, and I did meet her, and I knew that she was a young child, and I knew that she was not an adult, but I don't believe he met her till she was 16. So I'm not doing a he said, she said. I'm not doing that, because that's not what we're here for.
Okay.
But he didn't meet her till she was 16. And the entire testimony of the 14, 15, and 16-year-old is therefore not accurate. Did I meet her when she was 16 with her mother? I absolutely did. And did I know that she was young? I absolutely did. But everything that took place that was alleged at trial at the 14 and 15 and 16 is not accurate. And
there's testimony, or and again, I'm using testimony in the broadest sense. Some of this is just public statements or something that's come out in civil lawsuits about you and Mr. Epstein giving like you're turning 18 birthday card to somebody, which again, if true, would by definition mean you knew that she was under 18. Do you recall doing that?
I do not. I mean, no memory of that at all. And I believe that would be the person that called herself Kate has now announced herself in her own podcast for who she really is. Her name is. So I did not meet until actually she was either 20 or 21. So it would be very hard for me to have given her an 18 birthday card. And the testimony, there's also that slid back.
Do you accept that at some point, and we talked about this yesterday about how Mr. Epstein changed, but at some point, Mr. Epstein definitely preferred younger women.
I accept.
And I think you said yesterday, but say it again since we're talking about it. Is that something that you, in your mind, one of the areas where he changed from when you first met him until later?
So I just also want to be clear, I never understood that change to encompass children. I did see from when I met him, he was involved or friends with, or whatever, however you want to characterize it, with women who were in their 20s. And then the slide to 18 or younger looking women. But I never considered that this would encompass criminal behavior. It never.
And so when you read, I guess 2 different times, right? One was during the Florida investigation when there were eventually public statements from some of these now women who testified about what they did with Mr. Epstein when they were under 18. At that point, did you realize, or did you think to yourself, this happened, or this could have happened, I missed it, or were you at that point still in the mindset that they were either not telling the truth or were not remembering what happened the way that accurately?
That's a very fair question. So I think that my view of this at that time, call it as contemporaneously as it did, because I don't think that stuff came out in public. I mean, I may have read things, but I don't. My first real memory of that is at the trial. But my viewpoint, if you will, was set from the minute that lied in her civil deposition, and I could never recover from that because.
Which lie? What are you referring to?
Her entire characterization
Okay.
of. Now, I don't remember how she came and whether I did admit
I see.
her, but I'm talking about the first time she came to Epstein's house, which I knew to be false. So from that first lie of that description, I could never recover from that.
I understand. Okay. So.
And that tainted, sorry, just so that we're clear, it tainted then the testimony of everybody else that I saw that came post that, because I had my own personal experience, which I knew to be false.
Yeah. And the reason why I think, and I said to Mr. Marcus that this morning that we were going to talk about this, because when I think about you and the public's perception of Mr. Epstein, the public is left with the view that nobody in the world knows what really happened except for you. Okay? Now, you've explained the last day and a half how some of that's just a misperception because you didn't have a key to his house. You weren't around as much as maybe everybody claims you were. Okay? But there still is this perception out there that, oh my gosh, if we could talk to Miss Maxwell, we would know how horrible Mr. Epstein was, or how misperceived he was, whatever the truth is about Mr. Epstein. And the challenge in my mind, just to be, I told you I would tell you when I had issues, and the challenge in my mind is that so many women have said that Mr. Epstein sexually assaulted them, whether juveniles or adults, that I don't find it, that's persuasive, right? That happened.
Okay, so.
And so if that's persuasive, then, and I think it's beyond contestation that he preferred younger women, and it's also beyond, I think, at this point, there were certainly circumstances that underage women, well, I don't want to say that you agree with me on that. I certainly believe that there were younger age women that were abused by him. Okay. So the layer that I really want to have a frank discussion about is, some of these women have said, oh yes, Ms. Maxwell was there, to varying degrees. She saw me there, the door was open when I was there, and then much more egregious, right, that you participated and that you were part of it. And so what I really want you to have an opportunity to say to us is where on the spectrum the truth is, whether it's somewhere in the middle, whether it's one extreme or another extreme. Understanding, in my mind, I'm talking about 1994, 5 to whenever, late 90s, early 2000s.
And let me just interrupt, and all I would say is, we're not here to say anything one way or the other about Epstein. I agree with you that the evidence is overwhelming against him, and he's his own person and has to deal with that. But Galen can speak about what she knows,
yes,
and from her point of view, and what she did, and that's what you can talk about, Galen.
Okay, so I think it's helpful to put this on the time on the calendar, because I think without that we're lost. So I would say we'll go from the beginning. 91, no. 2, no. 3, no. 4, no. 5, no. 6. Now, in that time frame, you have the allegations of Jane, who I dispute. I don't think he met her till she was.
Let's not talk about individuals.
Oh no, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But there's only so in that time period, I'm only aware of her. I'm aware of a girl who said, but and those I don't know of any others, and if there are other people who are making allegations about it, I'm not actually aware of them. I may have read them but I don't know. So I think in the early 90s period, I think I'm fairly confident, and I can say that at least as characterized, it's just false. It's just, it didn't happen as said. Now, did it happen? Did he involve himself? I knew about Jane because I saw her come to the house, but I saw her with her mother. I know that her allegations are that there were orgies, for instance, but the people that she suggests were in her orgies didn't even work for Epstein until 98 or 99. Did he do orgies with those people and her? I don't know anybody who was there who said that they did. I certainly didn't see it, so I can't say that happened. Did she do it with someone else? I don't know. The stories really start, the allegations really begin with, and I think that you have to shift his behavior, such as it was, bar there was one in California who made an allegation. There was a woman who said that I didn't know about. So I think I would call her the first person I'd be aware of him using his position to...
sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to. I don't want to have you. I don't think it's helpful for us to have you kind of address each allegation.
Okay.
I want you to clear your mind and just tell the truth about it. So I'm not saying you're not telling the truth. I'm saying just putting aside what other people have said or what their lawyers have said or what they testified to or, the rumors in the press. Push those aside. You were there, and so when you go back to that time period, 92, 93, 99, 2000, 2001, during that time period, what did you see when it comes to young women and massages?
All right, so I saw him receive massages. He had regular masseuses in the 90s, people who were standard and who traveled with him, and I saw that. He was living in that Iranian house, and now that I look back, I didn't stay there, but I would go to manage the house. I would see women, models, or people that he would have come to the house. I know that I thought that he was with Eva still at that time. That's what I believed. And then subsequently believed that even though she married him, I actually subsequently believed that the baby that she had was his.
Can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yeah, of course.
Can I just ask some basic top-line questions?
Yes.
Were you ever in a massage room with him and a masseuse?
Yes.
Okay. When was that?
Well, he would come in sometimes and he would say, give her a massage here, or he would grab my, but not often. I mean, he did come in from time to time.
Were you ever in a massage room with him with a masseuse that was naked or giving him any sexual favors?
I never saw that.
Okay.
That I remember.
Okay. Did any of the masseuses ever discuss with you giving that they gave sexual favors to Epstein?
No.
Did you ever see an underage girl go into a massage room with Mr. Epstein?
No.
If you had seen that, what would you have done? Would you have left?
I can't even conceive. I can't even conceive of. I can't imagine what I would have done.
All right, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Okay. Did you ever observe Mr. Epstein masturbating during a massage?
Yes.
I
mean, when I'd seen him on a massage table, I had seen him masturbate. I don't know if there was a masseuse present, but I've seen him on a massage
see.
table.
Okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
I just.
Did you ever see him masturbate with a masseuse, with a naked woman, either giving him a massage, reporting to give him a massage?
I don't remember seeing that.
Did you give him massages, by the way? I mean, there's a photo of you rubbing his feet, and I think.
I certainly have been in the massage room with him, and I have certainly rubbed his feet and when he would talk, but I was not a masseuse, and I didn't perform massage on him.
Did you, over the years, did you pay the masseuses?
It was typically not my job, but if there was nobody else, normally, so in Palm Beach, the houseman would give the money, and in New York, he would do that because I wouldn't be in New York when I don't remember ever paying a masseuse in New York.
So it wasn't
maybe
your job
No.
on a regular basis to pay the masseuses. So if there was a masseuse 7 days a week, it wasn't expected that 7 days a week you would be the one handing them money.
Mostly I would not. I'm not saying I never did it because that wouldn't be true, but it was not my job to pay him. I mostly recall he would either pay them himself, he would have money, or the houseman, and I think some of them would have probably received checks.
And so just picking up on what Mr. Marcus was just asking you, did you participate in sexual activity with him with a masseuse, like at the same time?
No.
And so I don't know if there was testimony, but the women who have said that happened, categorically that's not true.
That is categorically not true.
Did you, moving past the moving into the 2000s.
I mean, I just want to say that
Yeah,
I
go
have
ahead.
been, I mean, I remember there'd be times when he'd be getting a massage and I would be in the room, I could be on his feet and somebody else could be on his feet and we could be talking. So there is that.
But that's not, you're
No.
not talking about something that's sexual, you're talking about literally just rubbing his feet.
Yes.
Okay.
But I mean... you
No,
know,
that's not what
the-
I'm talking about.
No,
I'm
okay, but
saying-
there could be, sometimes the women might be topless who are giving that, so you could say that was sexual in that context.
No, I'm talking about the repeated reports of certain sex acts happening with you present and even participating.
No.
Did you in the 2000s time period, so moving a little more recently, when you talked about it yesterday about how your relationship with Mr. Epstein changed and was changing, and you ultimately met somebody else, did you observe any, massages or young women giving him massages later on, so after 2000, 2001 time period?
I'm sure I did.
And was there anything different about what you observed during that period and the 90s as far as the frequency, his conduct towards them?
I think the frequency increased. I think he went from 1 to 2 in that time period. But I did not see, I have no recollection of ever seeing a child entering the house and giving him a massage. At that time, he had moved me out of the main house. I had moved into an office with John Alessi, the former butler, under the stairs. So I had an office where I would be that was not part of the house. If I saw people, and I'm not saying I didn't see people come to give a massage, that wouldn't be true either, but if I saw someone, let's say, I don't remember ever seeing anybody that I would characterize as a child. Now, specifically, someone who accused me of seeing her, at the time when she came, if I did see her, and I don't believe I did see her or meet her at all, but if she did, she was, as she's described herself now, was very mature and looked in her 20s. So could somebody have come that was more mature looking than the allegation of what she did look like with a photograph that was produced as evidence? Yes. But I never recall at any time seeing what I would characterize as a child coming to give him a massage and going upstairs. Did I see people come? I absolutely did. I just didn't see children. I didn't see anybody I would think of as a child. And if I had seen a child, I'm not sure what I would have done.
Well, did you, just talking, like coming out a little bit of just bigger picture, do you, at the time that you were in his life, was he did he seem to you to be a sexual deviant or I don't know what the right way to describe it, but when you say to me, he was getting massages every single day, right? So young women were everywhere, multiple massages on some days, flew with the women to the island, to New York, Paris, there's always women, they're always rubbing him, giving him massages. I think it would be an understatement to say that that's not normal.
I agree.
We've all kind of been part of the Epstein story over the past several years, but you were there at the time, okay? What was it like at the time? I mean, was he a creepy guy when it came to that sort of thing? Was he protective of how he looked publicly, image-wise? Like, at the time, what was it like?
I think if he had been creepy, like as you would define and you would expect someone who was living that lifestyle to be creepy, I don't think the women would have been there. I don't think that they thought of him as creepy. And if they did, I never saw them behave like he was being weird. Was it a lot? Yes, it was, for sure. I found it overwhelming, and I can understand why it was interesting, because to me it's not interesting. But he, as he defined it, he found it invigorating. He liked being with younger people. And now I'm just younger people. I'm just saying because they gave him ideas and they were up to date on music and
Yeah, but that's different than like a
I'm just
masseuse
saying
coming
what,
every
I'm
day.
just telling you what he was saying
Yeah.
to me. I mean, to me, I just found it a drag and difficult and annoying.
Did you,
But understand, I wasn't the only person present. So this time in the 2000s, you're talking about other people, like Sarah Cullen, who was around, who interfaced with him. I didn't have to. She was really interfacing with Epstein at this point in time in his life. She was running his. She was his assistant, and so I didn't have to.
that's a fair point, but move beyond his assistants or the folks that work with him. What about his friends and the people that were associated with him? That it couldn't be. It doesn't. I don't understand how this is an after fact of Mr. Epstein. So once he's arrested in Florida, it becomes part of his story, and then later on, he's charged in Southern District, and then here we are now in 2025. But he was a very successful, hardworking guy, and he had a lot of clients, and he flew with them on vacations and went to the island. It doesn't. I don't understand how he was able to hide this, what seems to me to be some sort of sexual fixation or issue from others.
I don't think he did hide it. I think that's the answer, and I think that the people around him, I think myself included, obviously, normalized his behavior on a number of fronts. One, I think because it was a because so many people saw it, of such a high caliber down, that never seemed to think it would, well, if they thought it was strange, probably they never said it at the time, so it became sort of like it was his thing, right? He was always around with women. Now I understand that it's very unattractive, especially in light of everything that we know today, but at the time, the only way I can sort of try and describe it is through Sex and the City, the movie, the show on telly, where that lifestyle is described on the TV show constantly. There are always these women around and men who like it, and a lot of the men that I know like women, and so maybe not as overtly as Epstein, but he was overt, not covert, except obviously in the context of the criminal behavior. So what we're discussing now, there's a difference between the criminal behavior and the non-criminal behavior. You don't like the lifestyle. I concur. I agree, especially now, and I own my side of that fence, that I was there and that I saw his behavior with women and didn't challenge him or do something. But I don't think back in the 90s or the 2000s we've had a cultural shift, and the cultural shift, I think, is a very important part of the analysis here. Not because I'm trying to justify this, because I'm not, and I'm not trying to, and I'm not here to do the Poor Me program, so please don't misunderstand this. However, in the 2000s, when this behavior was going down, in the initial blush of the Palm Beach investigation, the women who brought the women who were underage, 17, 16, I believe, if my memory serves, were actually targets of the investigation and could have been charged with prostitution and trafficking, if trafficking was even a law. So you're taking behavior, and I did introduce him to women. I did, but not underage women. I understand that there are allegations. I have read them about myself going to schools. I can categorically tell you that I have never in my life gone to a school to pick up a child. Well, not for this purpose. I mean, like my stepchildren, but okay, sorry. Just.
No, I understand.
Okay, thank you. I just want to be clear that I'm not trying to be cute or anything. But I did look for masseuses. I did. I went to spas, and if I met somebody who said she was a masseuse, I did not check their credentials. And of course, if she was attractive, I did introduce her. Yes. If I met friends who were interested, he was constantly asking me to meet new and interesting people. I did do that. At the time, I viewed it as, well, first of all, part of my job, I think, or part of my responsibility, if you were, to introduce, because it wasn't just women. If I met somebody who was interesting, like Mary Gelman, or who I thought he would like, I did that. So it's not exclusively, but he did. And I did do that. So,
but then, so I want to layer on top of what you just said, what we talked about yesterday more, but a little bit today already, which is everybody that was around him besides you, like his friends. So
Right.
I accept the lifestyle. I've seen the photos, the fact that we're all going to go to the island for a couple days, or flying on a private plane, and there's beautiful women everywhere. Is there any, I mean, do you, as you sit here today, think that the people around him weren't also of the same place, where they were also getting massages, where there was sex going on during them, or things like that? And I'm obviously asking this because that's what
Yes.
what everybody has said. And when you just described what it was like, the very next step from that is everybody's going to Vegas for the weekend, and so it seems kind of far-fetched to say that yes, that was his lifestyle, but then when he's taking groups of folks to the island, or groups of folks to New Mexico or whatever, that they're all going to church in the morning while he's getting a massage.
I hear you. I was there though, and
Yeah.
and you're talking about very substantial people, and you are extrapolating because the narrative that started in, by the way, not until 2009 is when it really started. So that narrative that was created and then built upon, and it just mushroomed into what, basically this is like a Salem witch trial. People gone and lost their minds for this thing. I understand that, but the issue is, how do you satisfy a mob who can't understand the lifestyle because it's like P. Diddy in Redux on TV with Clintons and Trump? I mean, it's bananas. And while some of it is real, he did do those things. I'm definitely not disputing that. But this was a man, he didn't even believe he had a real business. I happen to believe he did. Did he grip? I don't know, because I wasn't really in his business. But this is a one man. He's not some. They've made him into this. He's not that interesting. He's a disgusting guy who did terrible things to young kids. You're not going to hear me say what he did to people who are over the age of 18. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go there. That's just not what I'm here to. I mean, okay. But to suggest that Larry Summers or Clinton would suddenly go, oh my gosh, this is like a guy, I'm going to get my body rubbed and have some sex. The men that went and had a massage and maybe did something sexual? The men. I wasn't in the room. I cannot tell you if that happened. And if it did, I never paid for that, just so that we're clear. Nobody ever said to me, oh, we had sexual intercourse and that's if it was a three. I would be like, okay, TMI, no, not my business. You want to, it's just not. And I didn't want to know. maybe there's that. But did I think these guys were coming for that? I really don't. If you met Epstein, there is no way that this cast of characters, of which it's extraordinary, some of you in your cabinet, who you value as your co-workers and you know, would be with him if he was a creep or because they wanted sexual favors. A man wants sexual favors, he will find that. They didn't have to come to Epstein for that. Now, okay, I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't see it.
So, when's the last time you think you were with Mr. Epstein when he got a massage?
I want to say 2007.
2007?
Yes.
And the frequency at that point, so 2007, is that when it was at its peak, would you say? Meaning the number of interactions he was having daily with women and masseuses?
So I wasn't really in his life. I happened to be in the Caribbean in 2000. I was with Ted.
Okay.
And I was still speaking with Epstein because I was still involved in his, loosely with his, the houses and the staff and some of the billing. And I was going back from being with Ted in the Caribbean to New York, and Epstein offered me a ride, and so Ted dropped me off in St. Thomas, and I was on the island, I believe, for one day and one night only. On that visit, I believe, well, I know he would have gotten a massage, but I have, there were people there, but I did not, there were women, and I was just relieved not to be leaving the next day.
Let's take a break.
All right, we're going to take a break. The time is 11:31.
And I know I would characterize, originally anyway, Mr. Epstein's interested in him because obviously he's the former president. But I never saw him, other than that, I saw them be friendly on the plane, but I don't recollect anyway, ever seeing them in any other context. I don't remember him at his house in New York. Like I said, I don't believe he ever went to the island. I think that was just that was a story that did.
Do you know one way or the other whether their relationship continued without you, like when you kind of moved on past Mr. Epstein?
I don't believe so.
Why do you say that you don't believe so?
Because I don't think they had a relationship even when I was there. President Clinton liked me, and we got along terribly well. But I never saw that warmth, or that warmth, like how you want to characterize it, with Mr. Epstein and Mr. President. So I didn't see that. I didn't see any interest in. I didn't see President Clinton being interested in Epstein. He was just a rich guy with a plane.
When the Southern District of New York case kind of became public and there was a search warrant of Mr. Epstein's house, there was some sort of painting or picture with Mr. Clinton in like a blue dress that had been signed. Do you know where he got that picture or that painting?
First I saw it was in the press.
So you never observed that in his
No.
brownstone?
No. I thought it was hideous.
What's that again?
I thought it was hideous.
But you had never, so you don't know, sitting here today, where Mr. Epstein got it,
No.
the circumstance in which he got it.
No.
Do you know of any other gifts or paraphernalia or art or pictures that former President Clinton gave to Mr. Epstein?
No. I mean, did he maybe get him a gift? I don't know. I have no knowledge of that.
And then, going back to the topic we were talking about before our last break, when you said something yesterday at the very beginning of our conversation, that when you first met Mr. Epstein, and you ultimately have sex with him, that he had, I'll use the word erectile dysfunction, but he had issues having sex.
That's what he told me.
That's what he told you?
Yes.
Okay. And then over the years, you said sometime in the 90s you started taking testosterone.
Yes. Well, I don't know if it was in the 90s. I don't remember when he started, but it wasn't. He had patches, testosterone patches.
Okay.
Dermal.
Like on his arm?
Yes.
Okay.
And then he was ridiculous because you shouldn't take more than one, but sometimes he had, like, well, I'm like, what are you doing? It's, like, unhealthy.
Okay. From what you observed or saw or heard, did he continue to have challenges sexually over the years, or do you think that whatever issue he told you he had was fixed?
I think it was a lie
You think he was lying about what?
about his erectile dysfunction.
Oh, you mean you don't think he ever had any issues? You think he just told you that?
That is what I believe today, yes. But given, if any of the stories are true, he couldn't have had erectile dysfunction. The thing had a priapism, for Christ's sake.
Well, that's one of the reasons for my questions. I mean, you're right. I mean, and again, we've talked about this a fair amount, but what did, like, the stories of what masseuses underage and overage have said about him are, you know, and what he liked or what he demanded that they do, whether it's watching him masturbate or pinching his nipples, you know, kind of things that are unusual. Do you believe that? Like, from what you saw and from what you observed, from what you did when you were in a relationship with him, is that true?
Well, the bulk of what I read, he did not have sex. So that is consistent with what he told me, actually. And his masturbating, that is also consistent with what I knew myself. And I'm going to use a bad word.
Please, you can use whatever word you need. Yes.
Blowjob.
Okay.
He liked blowjobs.
Okay.
That I did observe. And he didn't seem to have any erectile dysfunction for blowjobs. But sex he didn't have. So when I read the stories about the allegations of sexual rape, I find that challenging because that was not his modus operandi, from my perspective.
But when you read about blowjobs, that would be consistent with kind of what you...
That would be consistent, as would masturbation, yes.
Did you talk to masseuses or women that either he was in a relationship with or who asked you about working with him? Did you tell them, yes, he likes blowjobs, yes, he'll masturbate in front of you? Like, did you have conversations with any of those, with women, about what Mr. Epstein liked or what would make him happy or things like that?
I don't have any memory of telling anybody about that. I think I may have joked, like saying, oh my God, you know, like from a Sex and the City scene, that, you know, he's... But not, I never instruct, the question you're asking me, sorry, let's just be clear. Did I ever instruct anyone how to pleasure Mr. Epstein? Your question, no.
And you said this earlier, but I want to just, you kind of said it on your own. I want to ask the question just so I make sure that there's no confusion. When you, over the years...
Sorry, can I just...
Yeah, of course.
say something?
Please.
I just want to say, the idea that I would have to explain to a woman how to satisfy Mr. Epstein is patently absurd, because he clearly was able to explain himself. He didn't need an interlocutor to explain what he liked. He's been doing this, obviously, or this, some version of this story his whole life, and did not require any help from me.
Then, so did you ever observe him having sex with a masseuse, regular intercourse, not a blowjob, nothing else, where you either walked in or you were in the room?
I never saw Epstein have sex with any person.
And so how about oral sex? Did you ever observe a woman giving him oral sex, whether you were in the room or walked in, or...
I never saw anyone give Epstein a blowjob, no.
But you said earlier you did see him masturbating in front of masseuses.
I don't know if I said that. I don't know. if I
Okay,
saw
sorry.
it.
I don't want.
Sorry,
Let me ask the question. Sorry.
I'm sure I said
No, that's
that.
fair. That's fair.
I said I saw him. I'm sure I saw him in a what some people could define as sexual context. So somebody could not have their clothes or topless. I would say maybe. I could say that. If I saw him having masturbating when someone was like, I don't recall that. I don't have a specific memory of it. I'm sorry, but no, I'm not.
Okay.
I didn't say that.
Okay, I know, understand. That's fair. Sorry, I'm not.
That's okay.
Surely not trying to put words in your mouth.
No, that's absolutely not. It's fine.
So, and you said, I think, in passing, maybe not in passing, about whether other people who travel with him would get massages, or so that would. When I say that, I'm referring mostly to the island or potentially New Mexico, but also at his Palm Beach residence or even in New York. Do you know? Do you have a list of names in your head or names that come to mind of people that you know did get massages when they were with Mr. Epstein?
No, there's no list. There's no list of people getting massages. I don't have. I can barely recall all the people. I can barely recall. I struggle to recall actual people that I met, and I may have met a long time, but I had even forgotten that about Mr. Kennedy, or I already brought it up yesterday. It just came to my mind now. So I don't have, and there's no list. There was never a list. There was no, or certainly none that I ever saw, none I ever heard of, none that I ever witnessed, none that there's no list. There's never been a list.
And you never heard Mr. Epstein talk about such a list?
Never.
And you never heard Mr. Epstein suggest that he had some sort of control over somebody because of what he knew about what they had done, or had photos of him?
I never heard him. No, I never heard him ask questions about that. I never heard him. So I've been present many times with masseuses. I never, who presumably could or maybe did massage somebody. I'm not saying whether they did. I'm not just in the context. I never heard him ask any question of any masseuse who may have given a massage to a friend who was on the island or in Palm Beach or anywhere else for that, any details about that massage. Like, does he have a funky foot? No, I never heard that. It'd be weird.
And I think at one of the breaks today, your lawyer may have showed you something that just came out in the paper, I think, this morning or last night, a letter that is attributed to you, associated with this birthday book from 2003 that we talked about yesterday. Did you see that letter?
I did see the letter.
Is that, in fact, it just look like your handwriting or something you wrote?
So I don't remember the letter.
Okay.
But it does look like my handwriting, and it does look like my name, and it looks like it could be real, but I have no memory of writing that, and I don't remember it at all.
Do you remember what the birthday book, as they're calling it, what it looked like how it was put together?
I do.
What do you remember about it?
I remember it was leather bound. I remember it being about yay big. It was big. Right,
So you're saying it looks like it's like over 12 inches, 14, 15 inches?
Yes, it was like sort of like a folio size, I guess, or something like that, and like this. And it was brown and thick, about this thick.
Okay.
And
so I understand.
on heavy stock paper.
Heavy stock paper, like 14 inches high,
That looks about right.
and then around like.
Well, A4's okay. We had A4 because it was done on heavy stock paper, but I can't remember if it was folio size paper or it could have just been A4.
Oh, I see. So it could have just been letter size, or it might have been legal size.
Yes.
Heavy stock paper.
Yes.
And the folks that submitted letters were given the stock paper, or how were the letters, or did you like glue or something the letters to the stock paper?
Every which way. Some were given the paper and they did their own thing. Some would send me some scrap of paper and I would put it on the thing. Some I didn't get because they went straight to Epstein and I was just told to put them in, like I said.
And how was it bound?
It went to a professional binder who did it like a book that you'd see in the library.
So like the glue that keeps a regular book, a novel that you would read together, It was bound that way?
I believe so. I don't think it was stitched, but I don't remember. I mean, it was professionally done by a professional bookbinder.
And then after you presented it, or after it was presented to him when he turned 50, did you see the leather-bound book? Did he keep it somewhere in particular?
It was in his bookcase in 71st Street
In Manhattan?
in Manhattan.
And did you see it over the years until you stopped going to the Brownstone?
I saw it. I know I did see it because it was right behind his desk. And after I stopped going, I don't know what happened to it.
Do you remember being told or knowing where the book is now?
No, but when I received in Discovery those pages, I assumed that it had been found when either New York or the island was searched, and I assumed that the Southern District of New York had it.
But I think you said yesterday, but just to go over it again in case you remember anything differently, you recall seeing some of the letters in Discovery,
I do.
but you don't recall kind of seeing the leather book start to finish.
No, but remember, I didn't see all of Discovery because they were very clever about, I didn't receive all Discovery, period. And in fact, very important items were not given to me at all, including witness testimony from grand jury.
So you don't know one way or the other whether it was part of Discovery. You just know that you didn't get it. It wasn't part of Discovery that was given to you.
Correct. But I'm absolutely sure that the Southern District of New York hid very important pieces of evidence from me.
Okay.
And I assumed that they leaked it, because where else would it be? If that's what it is, if it's true.
Okay. So I'll say it to you, I've talked a little bit to your lawyer about it. I said to you yesterday that the purpose of what we did yesterday and today was exactly what we did, which is to have a conversation about Mr. Epstein and about you. And I think it's very challenging to talk about everything we talked about in 1.5 days or in just a period of hours. So I'll talk to Mr. Marcus about kind of what we're going to do next, if anything. I'm not being coy, or I don't know yet. I don't know. So we have some work to do. We'll do it with your lawyers to the extent we have questions or follow up. This has been very helpful. I think it was you who kind of said you wanted to talk, but we gladly accepted. So I do appreciate you being willing to meet with us, and I expect that we'll be in touch soon. All right.
This concludes the recorded proffer interview of Ms. Maxwell. The time is 12:05 p.m. on Friday, July 25th.